Welcome to Toy-polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi. Now today we're going to be taking a look at the Independence Day Los Angeles Invasion giant action playset released by Trendmasters back in 1996. Now Trendmasters at the time were releasing quite a lot of movie related toys. They did Independence Day, they did Mars Attacks, they also did Godzilla and Lost in Space, along with a few other toy lines that were from other big franchises like Battlestar Galactica. But the one that I sort of remember most from the time was the Independence Day toys. Now I never had this playset at the time, and I've only just recently managed to find it, and I thought it'd be a fun one to review because it's actually quite a large playset and there's an awful lot of sort of good things and bits about it that are worth showing. First up, you can see this is the front of the box and it has all the information you need. It shows a reasonable picture of the actual playset. You can't really see a great deal of what's going on, but it does give you a list of what you get in the box. You get an alien attacker ship, that you get which is 2 firing missiles. It actually has 3 firing missiles, but they didn't actually write that there. It's 3 exploding buildings. You can see those there. They do explode, and that's actually probably the best feature of this playset. Then you get a FA-18 fighter jet. You can just about see that there. 20 soldiers and 5 battle tanks. And along with that goes the cardboard playset itself. And it is actually quite a big playset considering how small this box looks. By the time you put everything together, it's really wide and really tall. Let's turn the box around and we'll see what it says on the back and see what more information they have given us. So here is the back of the box. It doesn't actually give you a great deal more information about the playset. What it does show you is the toys from the toy line, and it shows you most of what was available. You can see here we've got the large alien creature and then 3 of the smaller ones, but it doesn't show you all of those. There are in fact 6 of those in total, and all of the artwork for these boxes just shows you 3. Then a couple of ships that you could buy, the playset, the 3 action figures and a couple of little mini playsets. And on the left hand side it gives you a rundown of all the mission discs. Now each one of these toy sets came with a disc which contained a computer game that you could run on your Windows PC, and it gives you a bit of information about what the operating system was that it needed to run. You can see here it actually just requires Windows 3.1. That just shows you how old this toy is. And there were 11 discs in total to collect, and the Independence Day set here came with disc number 10, so this one here, and we'll have a look at that later on in this video. So what we're going to do now is actually just open up this playset and put it together, because that takes a little while. There's a lot of sort of fiddly pieces to put together, especially the cardboard back piece, which is a little bit sort of cumbersome and also prone to tearing and ripping. So we'll get that all set up and then we can have a play with the playset. And here is the playset all together. As you can see, it is actually quite a large playset by the time you put all the pieces in, but it's just a little bit fiddly to do because all of these buildings are destructible, so they come in many pieces, and the little bases that they're on, you can see here, are spring loaded, and they're a little bit on the temperamental side. So you have to be very careful when setting them up because it's very easy to trigger the explosion part of it and it will knock the building down again. But as you can see, once it's all set up, it looks really nice. The whole sort of backdrop and cardboard setting for it is a really nice drawing. I don't know who did it, but it's got a lot of detail in it. You can see a huge alien mothership here in the background destroying a building in the background with lots of fighter jets flying around and lots of the alien attackers. And then on the ground you've got a little bit of a scene. There's a few sort of roads and cars and the sort of tops of buildings just to give it some depth. And I have to say, I do think it looks really nice. The buildings actually fit quite well in with this background. Now these 3 buildings are obviously supposed to be iconic Los Angeles buildings. The one on the right is the Capitol Records building, the one on the left is the Hollywood Bowl, and the one in the middle, I've had to do a little bit of research on that because I couldn't really sort of work out what it was, but it says it's the Western Bonaventure Hotel. I'm not quite sure how famous that is, but it's obviously famous enough that they wanted to put it as the centerpiece for this setup. And really, as they go, they look quite nice because they're three quite distinct buildings and they have sort of nice shapes to them, and you know, from an artistic point of view, I think it actually looks quite good. Now this set comes with some little miniature army men. I'll just bring a couple of them up here. There's a few different varieties of them. There's supposed to be 20 of them in the set. I've unfortunately only got 16, but I can see why I've only got 16, because these would be very easy to lose. They're pretty tiny, about 1.5 centimeters tall, and when you're blowing up buildings like this, these will get flung everywhere. So I'm surprised that there's even 20 of them left in this set. You also get a set of 6 tanks which look like this. Again, quite a simple sort of construction. They're hollow inside. The turrets do move, and they actually sort of look pretty reasonable, although I don't particularly think they're in scale with the figures. But then nothing in this set is particularly in scale. There's a soldier standing next to a tank, and as you can see, I don't think that is particularly to scale, but it sort of does the job. Likewise, the buildings really aren't to scale. You can see how small they would be if you actually put people inside them, but it's all artistic, so it doesn't really matter. You do also get a jet fighter with it. Now this doesn't do anything, it's just made out of a sort of solid plastic, and it's got a few little stickers on it and a very minimal bit of paint application, but if you want to sort of fly that round the scene, then you can as well. But the most impressive part is this, which is the alien attacker. This has actually got quite a reasonable sort of sculpt to it and a nice sort of bit of paint application just to give it some detailing. And on the bottom you have 2 missile launchers, and these are vital for getting the rest of this playset to work. So let's take a look at that. Now each of these buildings is destructible. You'll have seen that as I was putting the set together. They're made out of 3 or 4 pieces, and these bottom sections, the bits with the blast area on it, are spring loaded. You have to sort of jiggle them about a bit to lock them in place, and the idea is that you fire these missiles at these little explosion markers on the bottom of the buildings, and that should be enough to trigger them to explode. Now I've tried this a couple of times, and some of them set off really easily and other ones don't, so we'll just give it a go and see if I can fire these and make these buildings explode. There's a button on the side here, you can fire them individually. So we'll start with the Capitol Records building and see if we can set that one to explode. Wow, first go, it did work. When I've tried this off camera, that one hasn't exploded, so that's a good start. Let's try the one in the middle. I'll aim it again and we'll see if we can get this one to explode. Nope, that one didn't. We'll try it one more time and we'll go again. Hey, right, that did work. As you can see, when they explode, it's actually quite a nice effect because the building bits do get flung up in the air quite high and all the little men fly everywhere. You can see I've got a few of them on the floor, and that's how they get lost. So let's move some of these pieces out of the way and we'll try and blow up that building. You can see it's already falling apart just from the shaking of all the other pieces. We'll just try and see if we can get that to explode. Yeah, again, it's quite impressive. When they get exploded, all the pieces do fly a very long way. And now you can see LA has been destroyed. Now this has all been blown to pieces. I'm going to take one of these launching mechanisms out so you can see exactly how they work. They clip into the base. There's a hole cut into the cardboard, and you can see this is what they look like. There's a few springs inside, and you're supposed to push them down like so and sort of nudge the main body part forwards. There's actually a little note there that says face forwards front, because this is the only side that it works from. And if you tap on this, it only takes a little bit of a push to nudge it backwards, and the whole mechanism fires upwards. If I just touch that, you can see it fires up a short way quite fast with a lot of force, and that's what fires the buildings into the air. So it's a nice little sort of simple feature. All of these units are exactly the same. The one for the Hollywood Bowl has a slightly different top to it, but otherwise they do look much the same. As you see, they just slot into here, and then the hard part is actually setting the building sort of onto it without setting it off. You saw there how easy it was to set this mechanism off. I'll push that down, put it forwards. So you do have to be quite careful dropping these pieces on. It's a little bit like having a game of Buckaroo, because you're never quite sure whether you're actually going to set the thing off and just have to start again. And sometimes when you set one off, it will set all of them off. But you can see there, let me put that around the right way. That's that building reset, and we can go again and explode the building. Each of the toys in the Independence Day line came with a mission disc, and there were 11 in total to collect. The Invasion set came with disc number 10. So let's take a quick look at the game that was on this disc and see how basic it was, because really for the time they were pretty basic games. compared to the mission disc, I actually think this playset is far more fun. There's a lot more to do with it, and I really enjoy actually setting up these buildings. It's quite therapeutic, and the fact that they occasionally explode when you're trying to set them up is kind of amusing, and it sort of makes it a bit more of a challenge. But the set just looks great. It's a nice size. It's a shame it's not in scale with any of the other toys, but that was a problem with a lot of Trendmasters toys at that time. They would make ships one size, they would make figures another size, and then they'd make these playsets that none of those ships or figures would actually fit with, but that was just how they worked. So really you could only play with this on its own as a sort of a set piece. The other aliens and creatures were just too large to work with this sort of scale. But for me that doesn't actually matter. I do like the fact that it's a nice little display piece, and it is quite large. You can see here it's taking up most of my desk. In fact, it's so wide I can't actually film it and sort of work with it at the same time. And it's a relatively easy set to find. I think I paid about £5 for this set. It's missing a couple of pieces, as you see, the little men, but otherwise it's complete, and even the cardboard is still in reasonably good condition. There's a few tears on some of the tabs, but as far as playing with the set goes, those don't really matter, and you can actually just sort of stick it back together and it would work just as well. But the exploding part of it is really good fun, and I'm going to show you that one more time before I finish this video, because I do enjoy just exploding these buildings. So I have the spaceship Prime, the alien attacker, and we're going to blow these buildings up again. I'll start with the one at the back there, the Hollywood Bowl. Let's see if we can get that to explode. Yes, and it's already blown up the one in the middle, so let's do that one as well, as soon as it's half there. Yep, find one more missile and we will blow up Capitol Records in the background. So let's just fire that. Yay, and there we go. That's LA destroyed once more. So I hope my review of the LA Invasion Giant Attack playset has been interesting and fun, because it's certainly been fun for me, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow toy-polloi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.